Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Triple P, where you and we explore people, places, and palettes together. Now, let's not sugarcoat things. 2020 has been quite rough with the coronavirus situation, with not being able to travel, and I'm pretty sure for New Year's, which is coming up in 2 days, you and we don't have any travel plans. But we've got to stay positive, we've got to stay inspired, so I thought, why not create a video on 50 unique and interesting New Year celebrations from around the world. So let's get started. So first up, we're heading to Greece, one of my favorite countries in the world. And you might be wondering, why is she holding an onion in her hand? So let me tell you, it seems on New Year's Eve, the Greek families, they get together, they tie a knot around this, and then they hang it in front of the front door. And the reason why they do this is because the onion symbolizes rebirth for the following year. So it's like a fresh start. And then the next day morning, to wake their kids up, they take that same onion and tap it on their heads. Now, for those of you who want to release some anger that's inbuilt, head to Denmark, because you know what? During New Year, neighbors who want to wish each other luck, they take plates and break them in front of their neighbor's porch. Why? Because more broken crockery equals to more luck for the following year. Next up, let's head to Spain, España, where it's really important to eat grapes in time with the 12 chimes of midnight, and to be more exact, to eat exactly 12 grapes. Now, if you're going to the Philippines, don't be surprised if you see circles everywhere. It seems that circles are really sacred. So this is why during the new year, you will see an abundance of circular fruit. You'll see people tossing coins into pans, and you will also see a lot of people wearing polka dots. Next up, we head to Norway, where they eat a very special dessert called kransekake. It is a tall, layered cake made of marzipan and decorated flags, and the very interesting thing is that there's a wine bottle right in the center of that cake. Alright, up next we're heading to Switzerland, and I've got to say this one really caught me off guard because I just felt it was so random. But basically during New Year, they throw a dollop of ice cream onto the floor because they believe that this will bring them a rich year ahead filled with luck. Alright, let's travel to Ireland, where I have two interesting New Year facts for you. So one, that women who are single, they place a mistletoe underneath their pillow in hopes of finding a good husband the following year. And the second is that people bang a loaf of bread against their walls in hopes of warding off the evil spirits. Okay, so in Brazil, it seems that every year, thousands of people flock to the sea to throw in white flowers for the sea goddess called Iemanjá to bring them good fortune the following year. Now we're heading over to Colombia, and this is one that I really enjoyed as an avid traveler. So basically on the 31st of December, if you go to Colombia, don't be surprised if you see people walking around their houses with suitcases. It seems that it is a wish for, adventure and travels for the following year. Alright, so at the end of the year, normally you want to wipe your slate clean, right? So in a Peruvian village, they get into fist fights with the people that they've had tiffs with to resolve the issues and move on to the next year without any grudges. Now, I was pretty surprised to find out that the people in Iceland really believe in, magical New Year happenings. So it seems that they believe in, elves moving houses, seals taking on human form, the dead rising up again, or even that cows can talk. Next up, let's head to Hungary, and more specifically to Budapest, the capital. They have this thing called the time wheel, and they say that it runs out by the end of the year. So it's really important that on the last day, they mechanically rotate it so that the sand can flow through for another year. How cool is that? Alright, so next up is Germany. They have this really delicious donut called a Berliner Pfannkuchen, which is normally filled with, delicious treats like liquor or jam. But it can be that sometimes, as a joke on people, they put in, mayonnaise or ketchup, and it seems that if you get one of those, it's gonna bring you bad luck for the next year. Next up, we head to the Czech Republic, where very interestingly, they take an apple, split it in half, and by looking at the core, they can tell you how the next year is going to be. Is it going to be good or bad? the core will tell. Next up, we head to Austria, where the pig is very symbolic because it brings in good luck and prosperity for the following year. So don't be surprised if during New Year you see them having these huge roasts with suckling pig, or if they're gifting each other chocolate pigs. Now the next one is surprising. It seems in South Africa, especially Johannesburg, during the New Year they have a party throwing out the old appliances out the window because they believe in the slogan, out with the old and in with the new. Next, we head to Turkey, and it seems that people either in their homes or in their offices, they always sprinkle salt in front of their doorstep as it would bring them peace and harmony in the next year. Now this one may surprise you. It seems in Romania the farmers believe that if they're able to communicate with their animals on New Year's Eve, it will bring them a vast amount of good luck the following year. Next up, we head to Finland, where they have a very interesting tradition of casting tin. So basically what that means is that they melt the tin and pour it into a bucket of water. Once it is hardened, they see the shadow that it makes to predict what the future or what the next year entails. Now, if you head over to Belarus, there is an interesting tradition for New Year's for unmarried women. Basically, a rooster chooses a pile of corn which is placed in front of these women. Whichever one it chooses brings luck to that woman and she will find love in the following year. Now next up, we head to Singapore, the country where I grew up in for 13 years. During New Year's, what you would do is you would write your hopes and dreams onto a white sphere, and then you would release it into the river there in hopes that those dreams and wishes will come true the following year. Next up, we head to cold Siberia, where people jump into frozen lakes with tree trunks and have the goal to place the tree trunk underneath the ice. Now, if you're a foodie, you're gonna like the tradition of France, where people welcome the new year by eating a stack of crepe. There is also another tradition of kissing under the mistletoe. Alright, now we head over to Italy, where we have two interesting traditions. One, a little bit quirky, it seems by wearing red underwear, you bring in love, prosperity, and good luck for the next year. There's another tradition that says that you eat lentils. So it's not pasta, it's not pizza. You eat lentils because they look like coins and would bring in, wealth and fortune for the next year as well. Next up, we head to Macedonia, where it seems that they have a second New Year's Eve on the 14th of January, according to the Macedonian Orthodox calendar. It is a great time for children because it seems they get a lot of gifts and presents from their family members. Next up, we head to Netherlands, where to purge the old and welcome in the new, bonfires of Christmas trees are burnt and fireworks are lit. Now, in the UK and USA, as well as other English-speaking countries, the people get together, they hold hands, and they sing Auld Lang Syne, which is a poem written by the famous Scottish poet called Robert Burns. In the US, additionally, they also eat black-eyed peas because they look very similar to coins and would bring them prosperity for the next year. Next up, we head to Portugal, especially the northern region, where it's not unusual that children go from door to door and they sing carols, which are called janeiros, and they are, treated with gifts and candies. A little bit like Halloween, but a little bit more joyous. Next up, we head to Scotland, where their New Year's is called Hogmanay, and they have a tradition of first footing. So this basically means that the first person to cross the threshold of somebody else past midnight brings luck with them and is also rewarded. If you're heading over to Puerto Rico, during the New Year's, water is very important. It purifies the person and the soul, which is why a lot of times you will see people falling back into the waves. There is also another thing that people do. They take buckets of water and they throw it out the window to chase away evil spirits. If you're heading over to the Bahamas, they have a very interesting New Year's parade called Juncano, where they've spent months, preparing their costumes, and they have a huge costume parade. And it seems that the best costume wins a special prize. If you're heading over to Canada, they have something called the Polar Bear Swim, which basically involves people jumping into the freezing cold water of the English Bay on New Year's. Now, if you're heading over to Argentina, they have two very interesting traditions. One is wearing a pink underwear because they believe that it will bring love the following year, and also that they eat beans because they believe that it will help you either keep your current job or get a new one. Now, if you're heading over to Chile, it's interesting to know that the Talca family started a tradition quite some time back when they went into the graveyard to spend time with their deceased family for New Year's. So now it seems that the mayors open up the graveyard so that people can spend time with their, deceased family members on that special day. Now, I don't know what it is about this whole underwear thing, but it seems that in Bolivia, wearing a yellow underwear will increase their fortune for the year to come. Now, it seems that in Panama, they have a tradition of burning the effigies of politicians and other famous people who were prominent during that year so that they can ward off evil spirits. Now, if you're heading over to Japan during the new year, don't be surprised if you hear bells coming from Buddhist temples. It seems that the monks there will ring the bells 108 times to cleanse the 108 sins of humans. Another tradition that is very common in Japan is to eat soba noodles during the new year, as it will bring luck to the people in the family. Now, last but not least, we head to China, where it's very common to see that people paint their doors red, as it is a symbol of happiness and good fortune. Another very unique thing though is they hide the knives found in their homes. The reason is because they believe very strongly that cutting yourself, or if somebody gets hurt accidentally, could be, bad luck for the family for the next year. If you enjoyed this video and want more travel inspiration, don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell icon to stay tuned for new videos coming up every week. Until next time, guys!